In this next part of the Android development crash course, we are finally going to actually have a running application at the end of this. We've just got to address some runtime errors, and yeah, we'll be good to go. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is enable developer options on our actual physical device. You could use a virtual device. I prefer to use a physical device, in this case a Samsung S8 phone. So I've gone into settings and I am going to enable my developer options by scrolling down till you see about phone. You click on that, and then once you in the about phone, on the about phone page, you scroll down to build number and you just start tapping that. Once you've tapped it about 3 times, you'll see a little toast saying that you're a few steps away from being a developer. You just keep tapping it until it eventually asks you for your passcode. My screen is going to go black now because I don't want you to see my passcode. Once you put that in, you'll see a little message saying that developer options are now enabled. So this is going to allow us to actually use our device to run our app. Then I'll go, if I'm back in settings, right at the bottom you'll now see a developer options option, which wasn't there before. And that's switched on at this point. You can switch it off just by toggling at the top. But you want to scroll down to the debugging section, and where it says USB Debugging, you want to enable that. So now that we have our developer options enabled on the device, you could have used the emulator for like a virtual device, but I prefer to use a physical device for testing. All you need to do now is click on this little arrow, and you'll see in a second this is where you could create a new virtual device, but I'm not going to be doing that. I've got a connected device already, so I'm going to just select that is the phone that I enabled the developer options and the USB debugging on. Okay, it's going to just build. I'm going to just pause while it does this. Okay, so now that that's run, what you would have probably noticed is that the application would have started on your device and it crashes almost immediately. And if we look at logcat and we go in there and we select error from this drop down, and then I was just typed driz, just short for the name of my application, just to filter some of these things out. You'll see that it's complaining about, if we have a look here, some stuff: unsupported operation acceptance, failed to resolve attribute at index 5. So next we're going to have a look at how to fix this error. So this was a runtime error that we got, and yeah, let's have a look how to sort that out. Right, so the reason we're getting this error is because I'm using color on primary for my tint. So that was the problem. And now the important thing to notice about this, why I've included it, is that this is, unlike the other issues that we found to date, this is a runtime issue and not a compile time issue. So there's no red highlighting or anything like that, and it can be quite an obscure message. So always just make sure that any of the things that you're using from your styles are specified in there. So I've gone ahead and I've changed my styles.xml to now have a whole bunch of extra things, and one of them is color on primary, and I'll describe in a later video how all the stuff works with material things and whatnot, but just trying to get the kind of scaffolding for your app up and running. And we're not going to worry about setting different kinds of fonts yet, so I'm going to remove that. At a later stage I'll show you how to use downloadable fonts, which are quite cool. Okay, so the only things that are in red now are these various colors, and that's easy to sort out. We just got to specify those colors in our colors.xml file. Okay, so the way that I generated the colors that I'm using here is actually from a little tool that is accessible on the materials site, and I'll also show you that in a different video where we're going to more of these things. We'll be going to these things in more detail rather. For now, I'm just going to pop them in. This is what I generated using the materials like web tool, and that should take all the redness away from our styles.xml. So now let's try to run our application again and see what happens this time. Okay, so I've selected the device. I'm just going to pause while it's building. Okay, so we'll see that once again when the application tried to run it failed, but now for a different reason. So the previous error that we had has gone away. Now we've got an issue with no start destination being defined by app start destination for the navigation stuff. So let's have a look how to sort that out. So to get rid of our current runtime exception, we now need to build out the navigation stuff just a little bit. We don't have to define all the like transitions between various fragments, but we're just going to have to build out our first fragment. And inside of res navigation XML, which is the file that defines all the different transitions between fragments, we have to specify start destination. That's what's complaining about. Okay, so give me for a second. Put some code here which is the same but as my previous code, but I'm also defining a start destination, which is this title fragment, which we haven't created yet. Okay, so this is still not a very useful navigation XML, but it's good enough for now. So let's create a simple fragment just to provide us a start location for our application. Okay, so I'm not going to worry too much about package structure right now. I'm just going to add it straight into com.bdb drizzleheim, the kind of main source package. Okay, so we're going to add a Kotlin file or class. Now over here you could select, you could have right clicked and selected new, and there's an option for a fragment and chose like a blank fragment or whatnot. I'm just going to make a Kotlin file, and I'm just going to call it title fragment because I've already got this code. Just put in here. Okay. Alright, so this is like a very simple fragment, very basic fragment, and what's the reason we got a bunch of redness here is because we don't have the appropriate XML layout file associated with this. So you can see this is like a very basic fragment with a binding in place, a data binding in place. And yeah, let's go create the XML file to that map that sort of goes hand in hand with this. So as we've done before, we need to go down to res and layout and create a new layout resource file called fragment underscore title, which as you can see matches that r.layout.fragment title. The name needs to match that. Create that, and I'm just going to put some code in here for setting up a constraint layout with a single text view in it, and this text view is using my already specified dimensions and various other styling things and whatnot. And what I'm just going to do though here is I'm going to just make this string, so you can see title welcome. I'm going to alt enter and create a string value for that, and I'm just going to make it say welcome to, and the name of the application. Okay, and now that's been put inside of strings.xml. There it is, welcome to drizzleheim. Okay, alright, and then we can go back to our title fragment KT, and we can alt enter just to do an import for the fragment title binding, and there we go. So now let's try an application again and see what issues we run into this time, if any. Yeah, so actually before we do that, we still have an error inside navigation XML. So the problem here is that even though we've added the title fragment, it doesn't know that that's what we're talking about when we specify the start destination. So let's quickly sort that out first, and that should also get rid of our warning that we have on the title fragment saying that this thing is unused. So let's sort that out, and then we'll try an application. Okay, so in order to sort that out, we don't have to specify any actions or transitions in the navigation XML, but we do have to actually define that fragment. So you see this start destination ID title fragment needs to match a fragment defined in here. So title fragment matches title fragment, and yeah, this is just from my other code base. We just got to correct the package. Okay, There we go. So now we've correctly specified our title fragment, and what we then have is a missing schema. So this tools is this is for stuff that's shown just ready for testing, like in the design view. I'll explain more about that later. It's very useful, but I'm going to just include it for now. So it's just the namespace that needs to be included, and then we have a string for title, that the label of this fragment. We're just going to call it, let's just say, welcome. We'll just call it that for now. That's the value of the string. That's also put into strings.xml. Okay, so now let's try our application and see what happens. Okay, I'm just going to pause again while it builds. And now, as you can see in my little split screen that's showing you what's on my phone, we have a running application. So you'll see it says Android Trivia on the top left of the image. That is just my logo that I just took that image from a course that I was doing on this stuff. So I haven't created my own vector graphics logo or anything yet, but once you do, you can pop that in there. This is just to show you how simple it is to get up a basic application with a little fragment in it, and all our navigation and everything is pretty much boilerplated up, so to speak. We just haven't actually created a second thing to navigate to, and our menu is also boilerplated up. We just haven't created menu options to navigate to. So I'll create subsequent videos just to show you how to take this kind of boilerplate stuff and now use like the navigation designer for building out actions and how to do the menu and all that kind of stuff. But this is our basic shell for our application, and it may seem like a lot that we had to do to get it to this point, but we've laid some very solid groundwork for the actual useful things that we want to do next, like navigation and those sorts of things. Well done on getting your Android application up and running, but we're not going to stop there. There are more parts to this series where we're going to be doing some more complex things with like retrofit and room, so please remember to subscribe to my channel.